picked today is emotional, but it depends on the day, I think. And this was such a great assignment. Pick a psalm, any psalm. And it was really hard to pick one. I was like, do I pick the one that's just that one about that special spot in my heart, or do I pick the one where I'm in the dark, or do I pick the one where I'm in the light? But I remember that there's a piece in this psalm, and do we have the graphics up? Okay, cool. From Psalm 85. The dear friend of mine, Rabbi Carrie Chaplin, and I were studying together in preparation for prayer one night, and we were kind of leafing through the Siddur, the prayer book, as you do sometimes, like a coloring book. You know, looking for moments, like looking for like where, what was catching us and what was saturated and what was blank, what was bland and what was popping, in the prayer book for that night. And we were particularly searching for moments like we were asking this question: when does a prayer just get off of the page, like step off of the page and into the streets? And so we happened upon this line. Psalm 85, verse 11. Chesed ve'emet nifgashu, tzedek ve'shalom nashaku. In the midst of Psalm 85, there is this line that, I find myself, like I said, sometimes the Siddur, the prayer book is like a coloring book to me, depending on how I'm feeling and who I am that day. But I also find that when I am flipping through and looking for like what really calls to me, and especially the way you introduced that, reminding me like this is really an emotional calling, I'm looking for imagery and I'm looking for things that I can like really take hands with. So the thing about this psalm is that it has like a whole story in it. It's in one sentence, it's like an entire story. So on the simplest level, you have to, the translation, I provided this translation today in the simplest way I possibly could. Chesed and emet, they like go out for coffee one day. They nifgashu, they meet. And the classic translations of chesed and emet are, chesed is often translated as compassion. Today I'm taking it slightly to a different place with the word empathy as a translation of compassion. And emet is almost always translated quite simply as truth. So compassion or empathy and truth, they nifgashu, like they have a pigisha. They like get up, they just meet. Like I met you one day, Ben, or like, like you would just like go out and meet somebody, I suppose. I don't know. And then the second half is a whole different animal that we'll get to in just a minute. But so when this song came to me, it was trying to understand what could that possibly have been like when chesed met emet. So if it's true that there's a medicinal value to chanting these words, just as you said, I really appreciate it. I'm going to say that again and again because it's really important to keep like pouring that sort of gold down our throats as we learn here. So if it's true that to say the words chesed ve'emet nifgashu has medicinal value that can help us, then what's the translation of chesed that we really, really need right now? And what does chesed sound like? So chesed, compassion, empathy, kind of like a beautiful way of being, you could say. So let's try this. Chesed, chesed. And I want to know, I left some blanks at the bottom, like a little fill in the blank, like, how do you translate compassion in today's world? Like, what's the medicine of compassion that you need? So put it right there in that blank. And what does it sound like? What is compassion or empathy? What does it even sound like? So I like to imagine chesed is like this just huge, it's just so fat. Chesed takes up space and walks out of Chesed's home and meets Nifkashu with Emet. And Emet is not quite as flowy necessarily. Emet meaning truth. What would Emet sound like? And do you have a different translation for truth? So here's what I got. This is my version of the story for now. Meet something so, I don't know, linear, straight, edge, I don't know, as emet. I love to imagine this meeting. That's just half of the verse, because then there is yet another kind of paradox presented, and that is the second half. Tzedek comes out, and tzedek is another tricky word that has a number of translations, most often translated as righteous, like tzaddik, upright, or tzedek, justice, tzedek tirdo, or balance, like scales of justice. So I do appreciate balance, but I know that right now we really need justice. So tzedek comes out fiercely. Tzedek, 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 raising your voice, shout it out with me, just shout it out like that. But tzedek doesn't come for a meeting. Tzedek has had enough meetings. Tzedek is coming for something closer, face to face, kiss. What could tzedek possibly kiss? What is worthy of truly kiss, face to face with tzedek? Well, say the psalmists, the poets, they say, Shalom. Tzedek, tzedek, tzedek. Shalom. Tzedek, tzedek, tzedek. Shalom. Do you think tzedek just like walks right into shalom, and shalom just wraps their arms around tzedek, like saying, I will hold you in all my wholeness, tzedek, and when we kiss, what would that be like for tzedek and shalom to meet so closely that they kiss? Is that a fantasy? I'm just quoting here. I didn't make this up. Psalm 85. Now they say that once upon a time when the great source of life created humans in chapter 1, and humans were created both male and female at the same time, like this androgynous slash, all like pansexual, omnisexual, all the genders in one moment, that it was an example of this kind of facing, like facing itself, like hand to hand, eye to eye. So, meet me here, hand to hand, eye to eye.